Scotland's population needs and migration policy. Migration is crucial to the development of Scotland as an inclusive, fair, prosperous, innovative country, ready and willing to embrace the future. It's essential to our economic prospects and our demographic sustainability, of course, that Scotland continues to attract the level and nature of migration it needs. Migration is not just about economic prosperity, it's helped to shape Scotland, just as people born in Scotland have helped to shape nations across the world. So people migrating to Scotland have shaped and changed our own country. People from overseas who come to Scotland live to study or work or to raise their families are our friends and neighbours. They strengthen our society and we welcome them. This paper is our contribution to a crucial discussion that we need to have about migration and the impact it has in Scotland. It raises issues and looks at options to explore how powers over migration could be devolved to the Parliament. There are distinct needs in Scotland in relation to our populace and our demographic sustainability. The skills and positive economic impact people who come to Scotland have, as well as the cultural and community benefits. The cultural and community benefits, wow, that migration can play an important role in supporting. The Scottish Government believes that devolution of some new powers over migration policies within a UK framework could start to meet Scotland's needs, with ministers setting the criteria and rules for a visa to enter the UK that would let migrants live and work in Scotland with a Scottish tax code. Holders of this visa would have to live in Scotland and could not live elsewhere. The Scottish tax code is an example of an existing framework based on residence, with both migrants themselves and employers recruiting workers would have a choice of routes through the UK's immigration system. They can still apply for one of the other visas within the UK immigration system, which would allow for living and working in Scotland with the ability to move elsewhere. Alternatively, a devolved Scottish visa would be an additional option for people who want to live, work and eventually settle here, and would not place additional administrative burdens on businesses or individuals. The Scottish visa will be an extra option in the UK system and not a separate bureaucratic process. The Parliament would set the rules and criteria for the Scottish visa as appropriate to Scotland's needs, preferences and interests. The visa described in Scotland's population needs and migration policy would not have a sponsorship role for employers, removing a significant burden from the small and medium enterprises which make up a higher share of the economy. Employers taking on someone holding this visa would not need to be licensed by the Home Office, as it would not be sponsored. Furthermore, immigration skills charge would not apply as currently defined by the UK, and there would be no salary threshold, allowing earnings could be part of the selection process, encouraging highly skilled people to take up quality jobs, but not excluding anyone solely on the basis of salary, aka low-skilled immigration. Why can't you just admit that? Well, I forgot, because yet again, the SNP doing what they do best, and pushing on ahead with things that they know full well do not have the full backing of the public within Scotland. UK Government Immigration White Paper. In 2018, the government published a white paper setting out its plans for new immigration system if and when free movement is ended. The Scottish Government welcomed some proposals in the white paper, such as removing the resident labour market test for employers and abolishing the cap on the number of skilled worker visas available. We also support the proposal to lower the skill level requirement from graduate roles only to those requiring A levels or higher and above. However, the plan to impose a 30k salary threshold for all roles will mean the majority of jobs in Scotland would not be eligible. And how is that exactly? Implementing a high threshold would restrict the ability of employers to attract international talent, including social care, construction, agriculture and new growth industries. It is positive that the Migration Advisory Committee is undertaking a further review of the proposed salary threshold, including consideration of differentiated regional salary levels. In February of this year, the independent expert group my arse, on migration and population published a report on the impact of the government's white paper proposals in Scotland, estimating migration to Scotland over the next 2 decades would fall by between 30 and 50%, causing the working age population in Scotland to decline by up to 5%. And of course, the decline in estimations are based on projections that they've got that suggest that all of our population growth over the next 25 years will come from immigration. So these declines are taken off said estimations from projections. That doesn't actually resonate with reality. They're projections. Restricted routes for EU migration would be particularly disruptive for rural and remote areas, as seasonal and temporary programmes would prohibit longer-term settlement of immigrants. The proposals are likely to have pronounced gender effect, with fewer women able to meet the salary threshold. Oh, fuck off. The proposals will significantly change the patterns of migration Scotland has seen over the next 10 to 15 years. The UK government has said it wants the migration system to work for all parts of the UK. While Scotland is part of the UK, the Scottish Government has set out how it thinks tailored migration policies are increasingly necessary to enable Scotland to continue to succeed and remain attractive to migrants in a post-Brexit scenario. Well, see, this is the problem. For all the years that the SNP have been in charge, they've had free movement of people from the European Union, as well as emigration from the other 3 countries within the UK, at their disposal. They'll have known for some time that there was a so-called demographic time bomb looming. So the question arises, first and foremost, why didn't they exploit the aforementioned to ease this issue, if not fix it? Is it merely that Scotland was not an attractive destination for migration? Or is it a little more insidious than that? Weather the storm, so to speak, then ramp up the hysteria to garner support for devolved immigration controls. And if and when it's successful, granting them these controls would allow them to import non-EU immigration. Consider the fact that they're using the prospect of leaving the EU with the ending of free movement of people as their starting point, but as previously mentioned, they've had all these years to encourage migration via EU free movement and haven't been successful in attracting enough. But now they want us to believe that they want freedom of movement from Europe to continue post-Brexit due to population concerns, despite the fact even to this day they've still got said freedom of movement and there's nothing been done. Having control over immigration and the borders for themselves will without question lead to them reaching further afield. The only thing that they currently can't do, with Westminster garnering the control. The elephant in the room. What about incentivising native births? You're quick to throw the cash about willy-nilly. The third sector charities, the third sector organisations, etc. Quick to throw money willy-nilly about at Malawi and Zambia under the guise of a climate justice fund. You're quick to piss our money away on nonsensical bullshit. But yet you won't put some money in order to incentivise native births, family creation, programmes to rectify the issue internally. The fact that they just do not mention birth rates at all tells you all you need to know. They have no intention of reversing the trends of a declining birth rate. They're just steamrolling on ahead. It all makes sense at the end of the day. It all makes sense. Peace.